The meeting will come to order. In lieu of the roll call, what I'd like to do, since we have new board members and some new faces sitting at the table, what I'd like to do is just start at the far end of the table with Ms. Wetherington. First, I'll introduce Mr. Gary Gerstner is sitting next to me as the community superintendent. Thank you and welcome. We appreciate your presence here today, and we appreciate your making the trip from Fort Campbell.
Thank you very much. Glad to be here.
And so I'll go with Ms. Wetherington, if we can just go down the line and everyone introduce themselves.
Hi, I'm Brenda Wetherington. I'm the Fort Knox School Liaison Officer.
I'm David Allen, I'm a board member.
Andrew Doring, just elected new board member.
Stacy McAllister, board member.
Matthew Kopp, board member.
I'm Rick Lear. I'm the president this year, and we are going to elect new officers in just a minute. So at that point, I will turn it over to whoever is elected.
Could I just introduce Rhonda Welliver?
Yes, please.
This is Rhonda Welliver. She will be the school board secretary, and she is my secretary. So if anything goes wrong, that's who you go see.
Okay, thank you. And Yes. Okay, and so with that, we would like to swear in our two new board members, Mr. Allen and Mr. Doring. And Colonel Layton, do you mind administering the oath to them as long as you're here? And my right hand is limited.
I've got an extra.
So we move out front.
No, I think you're fine, just right there. Just raise your right hand.
I state your name,
I, Andrew Doring,
do solemnly affirm
solemnly affirm
that I, as a member of the Fort Knox School Board,
that I, as a member of the Fort Knox School Board,
will, to the best of my ability,
will, to the best of my ability,
faithfully discharge the duties of my office
faithfully discharge the duties of my office
in accordance with the Constitution of the United States
in accordance with the Constitution of the United States
and Department of Defense instructions.
and Department of Defense instructions.
I further affirm
I further affirm
that I shall respect taxpayer interests
that I will respect taxpayer interests
by serving as a faithful protector of the school district's assets.
by serving as a faithful protector of the school district's assets.
I shall encourage and respect the free expression of opinion,
I shall encourage and respect
You got
the free expression of opinion
the free expression of an opinion
by my fellow board members
by my fellow board members
and others who seek a hearing before the board,
and others who seek a hearing before the board,
while respecting the privacy of students and employees.
while respecting the privacy of students and employees.
I shall recognize that a board member has no legal authority
I shall recognize that no board member has legal authority
as an individual
as an individual,
and that decisions can be made only by a majority vote
and that decisions can be made only by a majority vote
at a public board meeting.
at a public board meeting.
And I shall abide by majority decisions of the board
And I will abide by majority decisions of the board
while retaining the right to seek changes
while retaining the right to seek changes
in such decisions through ethical and constructive channels.
in such decisions of ethical and constructive channels.
That's it.
Oof, man.
That's the longest oath.
Thank you.
I feel like I should be promoted
So
after that.
thank you to Colonel Eaton for our guest appearance as the garrison commander. We appreciate that. Thank you. Okay, moving on to new elections for new board members. So we are going to elect today a new president and a new vice president. So with that in mind, Mr. Kopp is currently serving as our school board vice president. I turn the floor over to you, distinguished board members, to nominate. Is there someone who you wish to nominate to be president? Who should we vote on?
I would nominate Matthew Kopp. Mr. Kopp.
Okay. Are there other nominees? Anyone else wishing to run? Okay. Well, what we'll do is, you've got the ballot sitting in front of you. It should be the red one, election of school board president. And what I would ask you to do is write the name. So Mr. Kopp is the, understanding that he's the only candidate, you can write in whomever you believe to be most qualified. Okay, so while the votes are being tabulated, also in front of you is the election of the school board vice president. So that's the blue ballot. What I would ask you to do is, are there any nominees from the floor, nominations from the floor?
I'll nominate Stacy McAllister.
Okay, Ms. McAllister, do you wish to accept?
Yes.
I'm sorry, I should have asked you that question. Okay, is there anyone else who wishes to be nominated or who wishes to make a nomination? Okay, going once, going twice. Okay, so once again, I would ask you to write the name of the person most qualified in, and we will turn our ballots into as well. Thank you.
The new president will be Mr. Kopp, and the vice president of the school board will be Stacy McAllister.
Okay, thank you. Okay, excellent. With that in mind, Mr. Kopp, would you care to assume the duties?
Sure.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Lear, for your year of hard work last year, pushing the agenda for the board and the community, and I'll try to live up to that standard in the coming year. Next on the agenda, we have approval of minutes from the last board meeting, which was on May 16th. A digital copy of the minutes was provided to all board members. Is there any objection to approving the minutes as written? Seeing none, the minutes are approved.
Could we just, it'll be different the next time, could we just sign it again, please?
Yeah, so we continue to sign copy. Yeah, so,
Well, I'm supposed to sign.
Okay, moving on. Next item on the agenda is old business. First item is introduction of new members, which we did at the beginning of the meeting. So we'll go to introduction of new administrators. Mr. Gerstner, I'd like to yield the floor to you to introduce your new administrators.
Thank you very much. We've been very fortunate this year to hire some new administrators here and shift some to new positions. So I'll start at the senior school. I'll start at the high school, Fort Knox High School. We brought in Brian Perry. Brian's an experienced administrator from in our system. He's worked in the South Carolina, Georgia district prior to this, and his most previous experience was at a unit school. For those of you who don't know what a unit school is, it's a K through 12 school in Cuba. So he's happy to be back on the mainland now as an administrator. So he's been with us for the last month, and he's trying to get himself settled. I just signed a bunch of travel vouchers today. So you know what, all of you who have PCS know what that's like. So Brian, thank you very much. We made a change in our elementary schools this year. We flip-flopped two administrators, and Angelique Joyner is now the principal at McDonald Elementary School. And I'm proud to say that Angelique came into our system. We hired her here into the Kentucky communities just a few years ago, and I was part of the interview team that brought her over. And she started as an assistant principal at Barkley Elementary School in at Fort Campbell, and then she came here, and now she's matriculated into the principal position. So Angelique, welcome. Laura Gibson, who is the principal of our largest school here at Van Voris. Laura has been here for several years, and we really appreciate her leadership as we're moving into the 21st century at Van Voris. And Teresa Wilson, she has to prompt me, thank you. Thanks, Teresa. Is the assistant principal who will be working with Laura. And if I just might, Luis Dominguez is here as the assistant principal at Fort Knox High School. And last but least, our hostess for today. I introduced her first on the first day back, but Yolanda Washington, Dr. Washington, the principal of Scott Middle School. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Gerstner. Are there any other introductions from the board? Seeing none, the next item is a review of the implementation of dress code changes. So this was a process over the last several years in many boards, which finally came to completion on 2 August, the second day of school. So we haven't had a chance to discuss the implementation. So I'll open it up to the board. Are there any comments about the implementation of the new dress code?
Have none.
No, if I may, I would like to thank Mr. Gerstner for his hard work. I think we all as a board worked very hard on this over the course of the last year, and we were able to make a lot of things happen over the summer, and primarily due to Mr. Gerstner working with us. And I know we reached out to members of the community on Facebook, and we got some great input from members of the community on Facebook. So I would also like to thank the folks who took the time to give us some of that great input and some of the great comments that we were able to come back. And so, Mr. Gerstner, thank you very much for your work with that. I know it's been a source of friction for the community for a long time, and so it was great to have a code that we all work together on.
Well, thank you. I would say that I must apologize to the parents in the community just because we didn't get it done fast enough. We worked as hard as we possibly could on this, and our processes in our system, because we wanted to vet through to make sure everything that we're doing was correct and proper. It just took a couple of extra days, so I know we bled into the start of the school year, and that probably caused some angst in a few households in the morning time for that first week. But thank you all for your patience as we work through this process. I appreciate everyone's efforts.
Thank you, Mr. Gerstner. And I will say that after a year of getting less than positive feedback from parents and students, at the beginning of this year, all we have received regarding the dress code has been glowing feedback. So once again, thank you very much for your personal effort.
You're welcome, sir.
Any other comments on the dress code changes implementation? Seeing none. Next, Mr. Gerstner, I understand there is an expert here to discuss the Kings Oliver School status. Would like to recognize him if appropriate.
Mr. John Owens is here, and he is an expert on a lot of things to include the King Solomon project. So, Mr. Owens.
How you doing, school board? My name is John Owens. I'm the logistics manager for both Fort Knox and Fort Campbell schools. I probably add a little bit more. I put this in there. Sorry about being late on this, but you all should have a copy in front of you. The Milcom project, King Oliver. I've got some relevant dates there for you to look over. The biggest single factor is you need to understand that we're on the downhill push on this school. We should be done with this school sometime, I'm going to say around mid-October. I know they're talking about a 30 September BOD. I'm going to give them an extra couple of weeks to get that done. And understand that these dates are based on the previous Red Zone meeting we had on. It's like being on ship again. Meeting at 18 August. These dates really represent what the construction contractor thinks he can achieve. We still have some weather delays we may have. We've had several of them this year, particularly when it comes to the landscaping that's coming up and material non-availability. That's always an issue that sometimes crops into these projects. Any questions concerning King Solomon?
Thank you, Board.
Okay.
One brief question. So this is the Milcom project for the school. The associated link into the existing infrastructure, sidewalks, roads, the safety look, will that be complete by the time of occupancy, which I believe will be after the fall semester?
Correct, sir. It will be. Matter of fact, most of the sidewalks and roads are in. There are some second pavings that are going to occur on some of the asphalt, but most of the concrete curb work is done. So we're in pretty good. We're actually in pretty good shape on that. Weather holds out. That's a big deal right now. We've had an extremely wet summer for Kentucky. It's really kind of unprecedented. I've never seen it like this. Does that answer your question, sir?
Yes, sir.
So if I may, so just to make sure we're still on track with the original plan from last year, but I think what's going to happen is at the end of Christmas break or winter break, once winter break is over with, when the kids come back to school, that's when they're going to go to the new King Solver Elementary School.
That is to be determined, sir.
Okay.
Mr. Gershner may want to address that, but we are looking now more at a summer opening than a Christmas
Okay.
time opening.
Yeah, sure.
If I may, John, just a minute. One of the things that happens in a military construction is the beneficial occupancy date, as Mr. Owens has stated, is when the contractor turns the building over to us. We accept the building. Now, that does not mean that there's not punch list things that need to take place by the contractor from that point forward. And so they're adjusting doorknobs, or they're hanging things, or all of the kitchen things need to be put back into place. Those can happen simultaneous while we're outfitting the school. So we have to run our wires and do our infrastructure as far as the IT goes. We also are bringing in furnishings and all of our materials. We've experienced some difficulties in doing that in the span of time, and I'm not certain that we'll get that done by Christmas. So that would be problematic for us to go open at Christmas, because we really would only have 2 weeks, the week before Christmas, the week after Christmas, and then the teachers would return that first week in January. It just might be an aggressive plan. I've gone to headquarters and asked them if we could delay opening for this school year and open for next school year at this point in time. And I'm not sure that's going to be a negative for many people in the community, but I see it as a negative for us. Now, having just opened a building at Fort Campbell, and we really had to push to get in there, and all of the materials are not there. So we have workers putting furniture together while kids are in the building. I'd rather not have that happen. So I think we'll know more in the next month what the proposal will be, but at this point in time, I've asked for us to delay opening King Solver until school year 17-18.
Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Richmond.
And I concur with everything he says, with the busing and everything being completely revamped, in 2 weeks, it could be a bridge too far. Okay, the other Milcom project is the Fort Knox High School Middle School project. I will be glad to say on 30 August, we'll start our pre-construction conference, which pretty well starts that building in its process of being built. Any questions on the high school, middle school project?
No questions.
Okay. Pierce School, demolition's in progress. It's like almost all done. King Solver is still, a lot of it's standing. We've had a little bit of problems with that, the demo contract handling both projects, so we're working that piece now. Walker Elementary was transferred to the Kentucky National Guard over the summertime. That's where the new Bluegrass Challenge Academy is now located. Mudge Elementary the demolition is scheduled for fiscal year 17. DPW projects, the two that we have remaining, that we just mippered money this week for are the Fort Knox High School track repair. A lot of people are happy with that. And we finally got the McDonald drain repair squared away too. So I'm sure people are happy with that. School maintenance projects, we did a Van Voorhees HVAC upgrade. That was completed. That was done by in-house maintenance. We probably saved ourselves roughly $100,000 by letting our guys do it. They rewired, put in new digital controls, and simply had Johnson's Control come in and reprogram the